But let's get into just the AFC playoff picture in general here, Whit.
Oh, man, there's some good scenarios.
Well, it's crazy because right now there's essentially 9 teams that can fill those 7 spots. This weekend, you just look at the schedule makers and the way this whole season has gone. I mean, they've really hit some of these matchups on the head in terms of timing. So this weekend, you've got the 2 teams that are out of the playoffs that are potentially going to be able to play themselves in, or at least give them a chance, or else they're just going to be done. And one of those is the Colts. The Colts are going to Denver and they're playing the Broncos. If they don't win this game, they're toast. But look, if the Colts win this game, you look at the last 3 games they have, they're playing the Titans, the Giants, and the Jaguars. So that feels pretty good to me, although I don't know that we can trust Anthony Richardson. And then with Miami, they're going to Houston. And if they can beat the Texans and stay alive, they're going to have to win out. They've got a couple games late at Cleveland, at the Jets. I don't think Miami has a chance to make the playoffs, but they can make some noise if they beat Houston in Houston this week. But if those scenarios don't happen, let's say the Broncos win and the Texans win. I was looking at the AFC North today. I mean, I know that there's a 2-game spread right now with Pittsburgh and Baltimore, but you played in that division for a long time, Whit. Anything could happen there, but the scenario of Baltimore winning the AFC North is still very much alive.
Yeah, give me the window here. Let's see.
Okay.
So they got.
Did you see the schedule? Have you seen the schedule for the Steelers the next 3 games?
Yeah, they're in Philly, right? And then
so they're
Kansas
in Philly.
City.
No, so they're in Philly, they're in Baltimore, and they're home against the Chiefs.
Home against the Chiefs. That's right.
They've got all 3 of those games in an 11-day window. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so let's say they lose all 3 of those. They're sitting at 10-6, and they beat the Bengals the last game of the year. They're at 11-6. Okay, very likely that could happen. Let's say Baltimore's schedule, they win 3 out of their last 4. They've got the Giants. They have to beat the Steelers, or this conversation doesn't matter. The Texans and the Browns. Very likely they could win all 4 of those. Let's say they win 3 of those. So all of a sudden, these 2 teams are tied, and you start going down the tiebreakers. And I wrote them down right here. So tiebreakers, head-to-head, they would be even, 1-1.
Yep.
Win-loss percentage in games played the division. They would be tied at 4-2, most likely. Win-loss percentage in common games. Most likely they would both be 9-5 in the common games. Win-loss percentage in the conference, most likely they would be 8-4. We would go down to the 5th tiebreaker, which is strength of victory in all their games.
Oh, man.
I'm going to have to spend another 2 hours to figure that one out. But it just seems like this has been the Steelers' division all year long. All of a sudden, this 3-game stretch in 11 days
is everything.
Just torture for them. And to add to that, Baltimore's coming off a bye this week. They're getting healthy. They're getting rested. And the other thing that I would say about Baltimore, Lamar Jackson had his mom as his agent. She did the deal, the whole thing. He listens to his mother. She was very pissed last game with her son because he wasn't taking off and running. The most dangerous version of the Baltimore Ravens is when Lamar uses his legs.
Yep.
And when he's not always, he can throw from the pocket. Yes. Every time we listen to Chris Collinsworth, that's all he says during the game. He's developed into a pocket passer. Yes. But the Baltimore Ravens are most dangerous when Lamar is taking off and running. When he becomes a reluctant runner and wants to live in the pocket, that's not when they're at their best. So Lamar's going to start listening to his mom. He's going to start taking off again. And this is going to make him that much more dangerous. I think we'll see what that 5th tiebreaker does, but I think Baltimore still wins the AFC North, which seems a little bit crazy to say.
Ooh, I like this. This is going to develop nicely. I like that pick. You know what? I'm with you. I think this gets real interesting. AFC wise, I still think Chargers, Broncos to me are 2 interesting teams. Like I want to see first round of the playoffs. I think this Broncos team to me is one nobody wants. I get like the feelings of like Andrew Luck is rookie, or I think it was rookie or second year with the Colts, like Mark Sanchez with the Jets. Like it just feels like something about this Broncos team, a great defense, a young quarterback who has no idea what's going on. He's just going to get in this game and he's going to sling it. And I think that's just not a good matchup. I don't think anybody really wants the Broncos in this playoffs for their opening game because I feel like a great defense and a young quarterback and obviously a great play caller in Sean Payton. Like they're the team I have circled on here that might get upset somebody's feelings about their chances at the Super Bowl quickly in this AFC picture.
All right, so we're kind of making sense of the AFC a little bit, and I think maybe those 7 teams by this weekend are going to be decided, just a matter of where they fall and where they're going to be seated.